Hello, Facebook friends and neighbors. Tonight is Sunday. It's actually Palm Sunday, and it is time for another Stampin' Sunday video. I am a little bit behind this week because there's a lot of information coming out, and I was having a really hard time deciding what to stamp and what to show you. I know it's springtime and it's Easter time and there's so many choices, and Stampin' Up's just released the catalog of retiring stamps, and there are so many. So tonight I wanted to show you, this is one of my favorite stamp sets. I say that even though I haven't used it except for once, but it's going to be retiring. It's called Walk in the Woods. Hold on, let me flip the camera so you can see it. And I love this little guy here. Do you see that little hedgehog? He's just so cute. And all of the words, let's see there, are really, they're very encouraging and really, it's a great stamp set. And so I've really been wanting to stamp with it, and I haven't pre-made the card tonight. So here we go. I'm gonna turn the camera around and we'll get started. And if you're watching me on Facebook and you can like this video, that's great. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to like the video or subscribe, you'll find the buttons down below. And if you want to share the video, I appreciate that too. So let me turn the camera around and we'll get started and finish up a really cute, hopefully really cute spring card. Hi, Kathy. All right, let's see. I need to flip my screen again real quick. And I hope you all are having a great Sunday. I know it's Palm Sunday, and I know some people still aren't able to go to church, and some people are. So whatever you choose to do today or that you've already done, I hope that you've found a way to refresh your spirit and refresh your soul. And for me, one of the things that does that the most is when I'm able to be creative. And so that's what we're going to do now. So if you have some supplies at home, any of the cards that I make, you can totally switch them up. You can do whatever you want to, really. You can use any stamp set, any set of inks. Let me check real quick and make sure that I am not sideways today, because that was really tricky the other day. I don't want to be sideways. Nope, it looks like I'm okay. So the first piece of cardstock I have is Early Espresso. And I just thought that with this stamp set, that'd be a nice woodsy color. So we're going to take our piece of cardstock and we'll cut it at 5.5. And then I'm going to score that at 4.25. And then we'll fold that in half. And let me grab my bone folder. I've been rearranging my room a little bit today, and so I'm not 100% sure where everything is. Okay, I think I have all my supplies now. I thought I had them all together, but I wanted to get started because I don't want to not get you guys a video on Sunday. Okay, so we're going to make our card go this way, I think. And the next color I'm going to use is Mossy Meadow. And I am going to cut that at 5.25. And then again at 4. So that'll be our next layer. If you're doing just basic layers, like your first two are usually an A2 size card, which ends up being 5.5 by 4.25, and then the next layer on top is 5.25 by 4. And that's just kind of a standard. Hi, Kathy. I'm glad to see you here tonight. And let's see, and this is what I'm going to stamp the hedgehog on. This is actually, I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it has a little bit of shimmer to it. It's called shimmery white cardstock. And somehow, because of how it's made, it holds the ink a little bit more, it's a little bit thicker, and it's a little easier to watercolor on. And I'm going to try and do just a little bit of coloring and blending tonight, so I think that'll be helpful. So then my next layer, I think I will do another layer of the early espresso, and this one was 5.25 by 4. So for the next one, I'm gonna do 4 3/4 by 3.5, and that will give me a little distance between the two layers, so that a little bit more of that green, well, you know what, I am going to actually cut it a little bit smaller than that. Alright, so we'll go another 1/4 inch smaller, so it'll actually be 4.5 by, let's see, 3.25. Let's measure that and see what we think about that. I like that better because I wanted a little bit of that green to show. Okay, so now we've got 4.5 by 3.25, and then we're going to want 3 by 4.25. And that will be our next layer. And then for this one, I'm going to kind of measure out where I want my stamps to go. Now, if you have a Stamparatus, this is a little hint that I picked up somewhere just recently. If you put washi tape on your magnets, it makes them a lot easier to pick up and move around, because sometimes you're trying to grab them with your fingers and it's just a little bit harder to get a hold of them. All right, I want to move my paper so that it's kind of in the middle of my grid lines, just because that makes it a little bit easier for me to measure where I want everything to be. And then, I didn't take my, okay, we're going to start that over because I still have my foam mat in there, and you don't really need this if you're using a stamp, one of these red rubber stamps that already have foam inside. You don't have to take it out if you don't want to, but I generally find I get a better stamped image if I do take it out. All right, so let me line that back up in the center. Now, once you take that foam mat out, here's another tip. Your magnet will be a lot stronger, so you just want to be extra careful not to let it snap down hard because it can break. I had two that snapped together and broke, and it was sad. It was very sad. All right, so I want to have my little hedgehog, and I'm going to put these little mushrooms on there. So they're just barely going to fit. But I want this little guy to go right here, kind of next to the mushrooms. So I think what I'll do is I need a little piece of paper. Let's see. I just have a scrap piece here or a Post-it note. Okay, so I do have a little Post-it note and I'm going to use that. And let's see. I have a 1.5 inch circle punch. I wonder if I can get my Post-it note in there. And back out of there. All right, so I don't know if that's going to come back out when I want it to. So what I'm going to do is stick my Post-it notes together. And then I can slide them into the punch and punch them out. And that was a 1.5 inch circle punch. And then what I want to do is just kind of make a little space for where his head is going to go. So if I want it to be right here, then I'll take my Post-it note and just stick it like this. Is that the sticky side? I don't think I got the sticky side one. All right, never mind. Okay, I'm going to put it just like this. I'm going to move the mushrooms for a second and stick him down. Okay, and I want his head to go right here. So then I'm going to put my mushroom stamp back and pick it up. And I'm going to make those mushrooms brown, although I'm going to color their leaves a little bit later. So hopefully all that will blend in just right. Okay, so then I want to tap my ink on the mushroom side. I think you guys can see that pretty okay. And you don't want to push hard, you just want to tap a lot of times until you get enough ink. And this set is, it's not a real sharp image set, it's kind of soft, so even if you put a lot of ink on there, you're not going to get a really solid image. And then we're going to stamp that down. Okay, and then we can just peel up this little Post-it note that we used. And, whoops. I know you guys couldn't see that, but I just knocked a bunch of stuff down behind me. I'm going to use my chamois to clean off my stamp. And just so you guys know, if you had watched me last week and I used my chamois, I have kept it in this stamp case and it is still damp from last week. I haven't had to wash it yet, and somebody asked me the other day if they start to smell moldy. They don't. At least I've never had, it's never started to smell that way for me, and I've had it, well, a year, at least a year now, because this month is my Stampin' Up! Anniversary. So, I feel like that's pretty good, I guess. Okay, so now I can put my little guy right here. And I think I am going to stamp him in black black, even though I'm going to color him. Okay, all right, so I grabbed my Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to ink him up. Just tapping, tap, tap, tap. And I am, if you guys are leaving me messages, I am trying to watch on my computer at the same time as I'm stamping. So if you have questions, you can ask them, but it's not, my computer's really slow. So sometimes they come through a little bit later than I would like. All right, so now we're going to stamp him down. He turned out cute. Okay, and before I made this card, I was looking at, because I was looking to make kind of a springy card, and so I kind of looked at images of spring and in the woods, because that's what I was aiming for. So here's my little piece, and then let me put my stamp away, and then we'll start coloring. All right, and again, this set is retiring, so if you want this set, if you really love it like I do, then you need to order it before May 3rd. So it's called Walk in the Woods, and it's a, well, mine is a clean set. I'm not sure if they make that one in a wooden mount or not, but okay, so here is our little guy, and I'm just going to sit him on here while I color. Not that it makes a huge difference, but he's a little bit closer to me, so I appreciate that. Let's see. I am looking for, okay, one more color. And tonight I'm going to use some of the Stampin' blends. I have this one is bronze, and then I have, and that comes in a combo pack with this one, which is ivory. So those two come together. And I also have a crumb cake set. I haven't even opened this one yet. And I have a Mossy Meadow set, because I thought those are perfect spring colors. And you can also color with coloring. You can use colored pencils. You can use your Stampin' blends, not Stampin' blends, that's what these are, Stampin' Rate markers, which we're going to use in a minute. You can also use any of your ink pads and squeeze them and use that watercoloring trick that I've showed you before with the blender pens or a watercolor brush. So there's definitely several different options as far as that goes. Okay, so I'm going to start with him, and I'm just going to color little bits of his fur, because that's what I saw done, and I thought it was really cute how it turned out. And these Stampin' blends are really easy to color with. You can make mistakes and blend them with a lighter color, and they kind of just blend right in. So this is just, actually the little mushrooms would probably be about the same color, really. And I don't know if they're the same, if I'm coloring like the right official colors, but I just tend to color however I to be. And that's what's nice about designing your own stuff, is you can make it however you want, and if it's not perfect, it's fine. It's handmade. It kind of shows, you know, your personality or your likes and dislikes, as opposed to something that you buy that's probably a little less personal. Maybe just as beautiful, really, but it wouldn't have the same touches as something that someone made for you or for someone else. And to be honest, at first I wasn't sure I would need any of these blender pens, because I like coloring with watercolor pencils most of the time. That's really my favorite medium, because you can get a lot of depth and definition fairly easily with that. And it makes a difference how many times you go over it. You can darken it or lighten it, but I really come to like these because they work really similar to the way that the colored pencils do, but they're a little bit faster even. Alright, so then I want to get a little bit more, a few little darker spots in there, and I'll just kind of fill in where I didn't get before. So while I'm doing that, I'll just talk to you a little bit about the retired list. Is really large. There are a lot of stamp sets and products and tools that are retiring. In fact, some of my very favorite things to use are retiring, and a lot of them they're offering discounts on. So if you go and click on my Stampin' Up website, if you're looking for stamps or ink or tools, or you have some favorites that you haven't ordered yet, you've been putting off, or you want, then now is definitely the time to get in on those, because they're not going to be around for long, especially if they're more popular, the more popular products. Alright, so, and then I'm going to use the ivory just for his tummy. I hope you guys can see how easy it is to blend these. They don't, here where they meet, you would usually see lines, because I wasn't being really careful. You saw I just kind of scribbled along. But these really, they have a great, they blend so nice. Alright, there's that one goes. I'm going to do a couple more swipes with this one. And they come in sets of 2. They all come in sets of 2. So you get a light shade. Like this one comes with a light shade and a darker shade. This is the crumb cake, and it comes with a light shade and a darker shade. And then here's the Mossy Meadow. It comes with a light shade and a darker shade. So really, you get 2 shades of the same color with each set. And they have 2 ends. One end, that's kind of a fine point, more like a marker. And then they have another end, that's the brush end. And that's the one I've been using tonight. So I'm just going to kind of take this light one and go over gently all the marks and kind of blend them in. I want to do his nose because, and see how that just kind of using that one light one kind of blends in any place where it might be really obvious that I wasn't taking extra care. Okay, so there's our little guy. And then I'm going to color the mushrooms. And remember this ink, the black ink, it's a little more permanent than what the classic ink is, the classic Stampin' Up ink. The Memento is more permanent a little bit. So when you're coloring the mushrooms, there is a tendency for that ink to, see, I don't know if you can tell or not in the picture, but it does blend a little bit into whatever you're coloring with the markers. So you don't get quite as pure a color as you would otherwise. Okay, so there's the base of those. And then I'm going to go back with the darker one. And I'm just going to shade it a little bit along the edges and where I think it would be a little bit darker. Around here, around the bottom, down the trunks. I don't know, do they call them trunks when they're mushrooms? Probably stems, I guess. I was thinking trees in my mind, but they're not trees. Alright, so there's that. And again, you could go back with the lighter color and kind of lighten it up a little bit more if you wanted to. Hi, Andrea. Okay, so there's the little mushrooms. You probably said that a while ago and I wasn't looking up at the messages. So I hope you're still there. Alright, so there's that part. And then I'm going to switch over to the Mossy Meadow. And this was supposed to be grass. So let's see if we can't just make that look a little bit green. I think that's going to work out fine. So remember that trick with the Post-it note, because that comes in handy sometimes if you need to carve out space from one stamp for the other. And you don't have to use a punch on it, you could just cut it out instead. Alright. Now in my inspiration photos, when I was looking on Pinterest and on the web, there were some little purple flowers all along in the grass. I don't know if they were lavender or I'm not extremely good with flowers, so I don't know exactly what they were, but they were really cute. And so I thought that we could add some little purple buds on to our grass here, even though there's no stamped image for that. But they were really cute. And so I thought we can add a little purple in. And that would be kind of like our little springtime color. Now I don't know if hedgehogs like flowers or not, or purple, or even if they're out in the spring when flowers start to come out. But I thought it would just be a good idea to put them all together and see how it turned out. So I'm just coloring, I don't know if you can see around my hands, but I'm just coloring little circles. And this is a Stampin' Right marker. It has two ends again. It's got the skinny end for writing and marker end. I'm using the skinny end right now because I just want little flower buds. I don't, sometimes with the marker end, I make too big a mark and it's not exactly what I want. So a little bit more. And then maybe a few over here right next to. Just kind of sprinkled in there. Alright, and I think that's probably cute enough. And then what I wanted to do was, I'm going to use some of this Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to open it up. Oh, I got out my thumb. Of course. Hold on, let me wipe off my thumb because inevitably I will smudge that somewhere I don't want it to be. Hi, Kim. I'm glad you're getting to watch during halftime. I have never been a huge fan of football. Not because I don't like it, just because I don't really know what's going on. But my favorite part was always going to parties and having snacks. I love football snacks, like chips and dip or celery sticks or those little hot dogs that are wrapped in a crescent roll. I love all those. Oh, basketball. See? I don't even know what's going on. You can tell I'm not, you can kind of tell I'm not a sports person, right? Okay, so I have a little sponge. These come in a 3-pack. Let me see if I have one I can show you. Like this. And then I cut them into wedges so you can use them a lot longer this way. And I put the names of them, of what color I'm using, inside a little baggie. And this one actually started out Old Olive. That's on this side. But because I knew it was a green, I was fairly certain that it would work okay with my Mossy Meadow. So I'm just going to take and tap my sponge in there, and then I'm going to brush it along the edges like this. Now this really, it doesn't do a ton for the card, but it kind of makes it look a little more woodsy or a little more, it'll kind of blend in better, if that makes sense. It makes it not stand out so much. It's kind of one of those things, like a little something extra sometimes makes a big difference, even though it's just a little something. So we're just going to smudge it all around the edges. And you can actually make a really pretty sky using this technique. You can sponge, you know, you would sponge your yellow first, and then an orange maybe, and then a red or a pink. But you could just sponge it along the top this way. Okay, and I think that's probably, oh, maybe a little bit more on this side since there's nothing up there. It kind of almost looks like grass since I pulled it down a little bit along that bottom edge. Okay, and that's all I need that for. And when you are sponging, you will probably get inky fingers. It happens. So there's that, and I'm going to move all these blender pads to the side. Okay, and here is our card. So let's start putting it together. We still need to choose a sentiment, but I think I'm going to put this on first and put that next part together real quick. See if I can find my glue. Oh, the Sweet 16. Okay, here we go. We're going to do, oh, I got a little too much right there, so I'm just going to kind of spread it out a little. When you're using liquid glue, you don't want to get too much in one spot because it can make your paper kind of wet and wrinkly. Not so much with your cardstock because it's a little more durable, but if I were using like the basic white, the thinner basic white, or the very vanilla, those are lighter weight cardstock, and so they don't hold up as well to any kind of damp, either damp adhesive or damp weather. Not watercolor or anything like that. Okay, so then I'm going to put this. And you can see that the color did bleed through a little bit on the back of this, but not nearly as much as it would have on a basic white or a very vanilla. So that's why I like to use the shimmery white sometimes, and it is shimmery, right? And so I need a little shimmery something sometimes. So then we're going to put that on the Early Espresso card. I almost feel like we need something a little more springy, but I don't know what else to put on there. So I'm just going to go with that, I think. Alright, so let's use some Stampin Dimensionals, and we will get this in place. If I had like a really teeny tiny flower punch, that would be really cute. But I don't even know if there is such a thing that would be that small. We do have a small flower punch, but I'm not sure it would be small enough for this. But maybe I can put something on there. Well, we'll see. We're almost there. Okay, so there's that, and then we need a sentiment. So let's see what we've got. Where did my stamp set go? Did I put it somewhere else? I don't know. Okay, I know I put the stamp back away. Did I? Oh, I put it right back in the box. Well, there we go. All right, let's see. So let's do wishing you every kind of, no, that's a little too big, isn't it? Let's, because I kind of want it to go up in this corner since that one is a little bit empty. How about, let's see, will this one fit? Thanks for being marvelous. I like that one. All right, so let's grab our piece of shimmer white. And this time I'm just going to use a little block because I'm just stamping one little thing. And this is block D. Alright, hold on. I need to line it up or I'm going to be wondering why it's crooked later. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I think we'll stamp it in Memento ink. So we'll just tap our ink down on there. And remember, anytime that you're inking up a stamp, you want to hold your stamp pad as flat as you can. Or if you're doing it the other way around, you want to hold your block flat. Because if you wobble it around or wobble the block around, then you'll end up with ink all around the edge of the stamp. And not that it hurts the stamp, but when you go to stamp it on your paper, you'll get like a fuzzy image. Yes, Kim, you could use any sponge to do that. You can use any kind of sponge. They even have these little tiny sponge daubers too, but I haven't grown accustomed to those, so I'm pretty sure you could use any sponge. I wouldn't think there would be a difference, really. Alright, so we're going to stamp our image on here, and I'm going to stamp it kind of in the middle because I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with it. I think I would like to, actually, I think I would like to cut it out with the stitch shapes, and I will show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to set it aside. I need to find the one that matches it well. Now these, if you have the embossing machine or any embossing machine, you can use, I have the Big Shot. That's what Stampin' Up used to sell. Now they sell one called the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. But there are other die cutting machines out there. You can use these with any machine as long as you have the proper sandwich, is what they call it. And I'll show you how I sandwich mine, so maybe that will help. Alright, so first we're going to find the shape. Let's see, let's try the small. The smallest one is not going to work. So let's use, oh, that might not work either because I stamped a little close to the edge. Alright, so we'll use this one. And here is my embossing machine. Okay, and your sandwich is something similar to this. So this is my multi-purpose platform. That's what I have to use on the bottom for thin dies. And then I need one acrylic sheet. And then I put my paper next. And I always try to cut my items kind of in the middle of the plate. I don't know that it makes a difference. I've cut it other ways before, but sometimes I find if it's off to the edge a little bit, then it doesn't cut quite as nice as what it does in the middle. So we're going to line that up, and I'm going to try to get it mostly in the middle. There we go. And then we put our other plate on top. Now you want to be kind of careful not to move that other the paper and the die. So what I do is I squeeze them together and then shove it in until my handle starts to turn on its own, and then I know that they're going to stay where they're put. You can also get magnetic cutting platforms for the Big Shot or any other die cutting machine that will hold your little, well, this says Sizzix. Why can't I think what they're called right now? Dies. That will hold your dies right in place while you run them through. So that's an option too. All right, so now we're done with that. Now I'm just gonna slide these back in. I store them right inside my Big Shot. And then these get lost really easy, so I am gonna put mine right away before I forget and slide it back in its space. Now these are actually on the retiring list too. This is called the Stitched Shapes Framelits, and I use these all the time. So if you don't have these and you have an embossing machine or a die cutting machine, you might want to get them because they're wonderful, really. I love to use them, and I like that there's different shapes so you can layer them if you want to. But this time I'm just going to use the one because I don't have a ton of space up here. So actually I'm going to get my sponge back out, and I'm going to sponge this whole thing. Let me get a drink of water. I must be talking a little too much tonight, you guys, because I need some water. My mouth's getting dry. All right, so we're going to sponge around the edges so that everything kind of matches. And then I'm going to go a little bit extra around the edges because I didn't get to make a frame for this one because it would have been just too big, I think, for the card. I could be wrong, but I'm not going, there's no turning back now. I've decided. That's it. Sometimes you just have to make a decision and stick to it. That's been a thing I've struggled with for a long time, but no more. That's it. We're deciding. Okay, now we need some Stampin Dimensionals here and here. And we're almost done. So I'm going to stick that, and I'm going to stick it kind of off the edge a little bit just because that's where I want it and it's my card. And the wonderful thing about making your own cards is you get to design it. You get to do whatever you want with it. You don't have to follow, you really don't even have to follow my instructions. You can do your own thing. So here's our card. And let me see real quick if I have any little purple thingamabobs to put on. I think I might not. Those are new ones. Let's see. Have a little sequins, but I don't think that's quite right. Have some crinkle ribbon, but I don't think that's quite right. So, let's see what we have in here. Little hearts. Not finding any little purple dots, you guys, so I guess for now, that's that. So thank you for joining me for this Stampin' Sunday video. I hope you enjoyed this card, and I hope it inspires you to make a little springy card of your own. let's see, before I go, if you want to place an order, let me know, or you can place it yourself right on my website. There's a link in my Facebook page that will take you directly to the website, and you can check out the retiring list there. I just want to show you real quick a couple of my other favorites that are retiring. So if you want these, you should get them because they will go quickly. All right, this is an embossing folder that embosses pine wood planks. This is one of my favorite embossing folders. I cannot believe they're retiring it and it's going to be gone. Let's see what else. Let's see, I already showed you the stitch shapes. This is a winter wood set. I love, love, love these trees. And there's a die that goes with it. That's wonderful. This is a great Christmas tree. I made lots of cards using this set. So if you're interested in that one, that's a great set. I also really love this set. It has, I'm seeing a theme here. There's a lot of nature nature stamp sets in my stash. So this is a great set. It also has a die that you can get with it. And some of the bundles, if you get the die and the stamp set, are generally 10% off. Some of the bundles they're discontinuing, but they're continuing the stamp set. So they'll still be available, but you won't get the 10% discount for ordering both at the same time. This stamp set is called Here's a Card. This is one of my absolute favorite saying stamp sets. It has congratulations, thank you for being my friend, hello there. And sometimes you just need a card that says hello. There's a thanks, there's a lot in this set, and that's called Here's a Card. All right, this set is a great set, masculine set. It's Geared Up Garage. And if you remember, I showed you a birthday card I made using that set. There's, if you go back through the YouTube videos, you will find this one. This Buffalo Plaid stamp set is one of my absolute favorite background stamps. And they are discontinuing this. I am definitely going to keep mine. If you like plaid, or you know someone who likes plaid, or you like a nice background stamp, this is it's fantastic. I really love it, and I'm sad that they're discontinuing it. Now, I'm not too sad because I already have it, but that just means that in the future, for future classes and stuff, if I use it, no one will be able to order it. And so it's really a fantastic stamp set. I guess that's all for tonight, you guys. I am so glad you could join me, and I'll be posting this on YouTube. So if you go over there and you subscribe to my channel, that would be great. If you want to share this video, that would be great. I really appreciate you taking the time out to come and check in on what I'm doing, and I hope that you go away feeling inspired. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. So have a good night, everyone. I will see you next Sunday for another Stampin' Sunday video.